This is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and this week's question that I'm going to try to answer is, what is a foundation single crochet and how do I use it? Or maybe a better way of saying it is, what is it good for? Well, it's really a neat technique, and basically the foundation single crochet is a great way to add a narrow band or edge to your crochet work and have a stretchy edge, a little bit of elastic. And let me just do a couple little demonstrations here. Let me do the slip knot and chain 11. This is the regular way to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we chained 11. And then we're going to skip the first chain and stitch 10 single crochets across. And that is the basic way of starting a project. We chain and then we place 1 single crochet in each stitch across, or each chain across, I should say, in this particular project. I'm only going to do 10. And that's just because I want you to see what it looks like if I single crochet 11 stitches and then I begin single crocheting in each stitch across. And this is what it will look like. It's a great technique. We've used it for hundreds and thousands of years probably. It works great. I use it every day probably. But let me show you another technique. Chain 11, I begin single crocheting in the second chain from the hook and then in each chain across. And this is what single crocheting in the chain looks like. It's a great technique and I use it all the time, but it's not very stretchy. And if I want a stretchy band or maybe a drawstring, I might want to use what we're talking about today, which is the foundation single crochet. And what you do, it's basically you're doing the chain and the single crochet in a stitch together and work it as you go. So basically we're going to do our slip knot. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to go into that third chain from the hook and draw up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and only go through the first loop. And that makes the chain. Then you're going to yarn over and go through both loops, and that makes the single crochet. All right, now what you'll be doing in order to stitch along to create more foundation single crochets is you'll go in that chain that you just created. So you've got the 1 loop on your hook. You're going to go in that chain you created and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through that first loop. There's our next stitch. That's our chain. Now we're going to stitch a single crochet. And what we'll be creating is we'll be creating the chain and the single crochet at the same time. So you'll go in that chain that you created, you'll pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first loop, yarn over, and go through the second 2 loops. Single crochet foundation, go through the first loop, pull up a loop. We're going in those chains that we're creating across the bottom. Go through that first loop, then you yarn over, and this is the way you make a single crochet anyway. And what you're going to find as you stitch along is that you're creating a nice stretchy band that can be used for the top of maybe toddler skirt or pants, the top of a handbag, maybe even begin your boot cuffs. Anything that you want to have just a little bit of stretch, but you don't want a big thick band, like say a foundation double crochet. And you can see it's nice and stretchy. It's also really easy to keep track of your stitches. Here's the one we did. Let me lay them both so you can see them side by side. Here's the one we did where we chained and did 10 single crochet stitches. It looks lovely, it's beautiful, works great for some techniques and instances, some patterns. Then there's the Foundation Single Crochet. Makes a nice stretchy band, be great for along the bottom of a hat, and it takes a yarn, like this is Hometown USA, that's not very stretchy, and makes it a little bit stretchy. So it's a fantastic technique to use. And you just keep going for as long as you want. Now, to count your stitches on these, count your braids on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, we're doing a single crochet. So we go through the first loop to make our chain, yarn over and go through both loops to make our single crochet. The other thing I wanted to show you is they come out being the same size. Here's 10 stitches single crochet. Here's 10 stitches Foundation Single Crochet. So they are relatively the same size as long as you keep your gauge the same. They can be interchanged. The only advice that I give you is make sure that if you're interchanging them, that you might check with the pattern designer to make sure that it's going to work. Because this is stretchy, you know, that's the whole point of the Foundation Single Crochet opposed to the regular single crochet. You're going to get some stretch. You know, another place to use that would probably be the bottom of pant legs maybe. So there's lots of uses for it. It's a great technique. So get you some leftover yarns. I use this Hometown USA for the demonstration, and just practice until you get it right.